Hello and welcome to another modern video. Today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite versions of Amulet, which I haven't really been messing around with for a minute, which is Reclaimer Amulet. This comes because Apriolo, which is an Amulet player that has been working on this archetype for a long time. He was one of the early proponents of playing Reclaimer and Amulet, and he's been consistently doing really well with the deck. He actually put up a top 32 in the most recent showcase, and that's what brought Reclaimer Amulet back to my attention. This version of the deck is a lot of fun. There's actually a lot of new lines that Reclaimer allows in the archetype, and it's, in my opinion, like one of the best and most underexplored versions of Amulet. So because of that, it's always very interesting to me to kind of dive in and try to see what the true capabilities and like the actual potential of this archetype can really be. So we're going to be trying this out in this video. If you enjoyed the video, of course, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment down below, and let's look at the deck list first. So we are playing 4 copies of Elvish Reclaimer, and we can't have Deceiver Exarch without Splinter Twin, so we're actually playing some copies of Flagstones of Trocair. We're only playing a couple of Temple Gardens in this version of the deck, so we can't, like in the past, it's been, you would play like 3 or 4 Flagstones, and then you would play 3 Temple Gardens, and kind of basically always have somewhere to go, like somewhere to ramp towards. In this version, I'm actually just playing 2 and 2, which is a small amount, but I think it's the bare minimum amount of of this synergy that you need to have active in the archetype in order for it to function properly. But yeah, I'm not too worried about running out of fetchables, and I say this, and obviously I'm going to run out of fetchables in the very first match, but I still think that there are just too many. There are just too many utility lands that you want to be playing, so there's only so many cards that you can cut in order to make room for the Flagstones and the Temple Gardens. The good thing though is that the Temple Gardens actually do tap for mana to cast Reclaimer on 1, and Boseiju does the same thing. Boseiju is actually a surprisingly great addition to this archetype, because this archetype usually has a much easier way. Like, your Reclaimers basically are basic forests, so if you get paired against a Blood Moon deck, it's fairly easy to make sure that you have the colors that you need, that you have the basics that you need, sorry. And then we can also, cast the Reclaimer of Boseiju on turn 1, which was always another issue that this archetype had, which is you have these Flagstones that you want to be playing, you have all the bounce lands that the engine requires, you have your sagas, and you have like all of these lands that don't really cast your Elvish Reclaimer on turn 1, but that's when you want to be casting Reclaimer the most. So this deck list actually has 12 untapped green sources that allows us to cast Reclaimer on turn 1, which is, I think this may be the most that we've had in any list like this. Then we of course have the usual suspect. We have our sagas, we have our Stronghold Sunhome. Again, in this specific version of the deck, I think that just playing Hangwar Battlements, I don't know, I feel like you're missing out on so much power, and this is a deck that it relies on Dryad even less, because you have access to Reclaimer, and like this is very, very powerful interaction as well. Reclaimer allows you to get very quickly to 6 lands, so you can actually start triggering your Valak. It finds your Valak, and so you can start triggering. So I feel like Battlements is even less of a necessity in this version of the deck as well. Well, the only interesting card that we don't often see these days in Amulet versions is Crumbling Vestige. This card is not only a green source on turn 1, but also it's a white source when we need it, and we have access to Elvish Skull. Like, this is a card that very often overperforms in this style of strategy, at least it has for me, and I'm always very, very happy to see this card. We can only make room for 1 because we are playing, Colossus. We need to be playing Gracers because of Ragavan being omnipresent in the format. So even though we are, playing 4 Reclaimers, we still need to make room for some Gracers as well. But yeah, like, Elvish Call is always a card that I really, really liked, and in fact, to the point where I would consider oftentimes just make room for it in Amulet, like just straight up regular Amulet, and just make room for some White Splash and Elvish Call, which it can be very, very powerful. in the sideboard, even though we're splashing white, I don't want to rely on that splash, so we could play something like Prismatic Ending or whatnot, but now that all of a sudden we're back in a world where Magus of the Moon is the real threat, because Blood Moon we can just answer with Boseiju and Force, obviously, so having access to this member becomes even more important. We could play something like a sweeper. If I were to play a sweeper, that would be Fire Spout, but then, our mana is definitely trying to err towards the side of a green-white, and then trying to splash red on top of that seems really, really hard to achieve. So we're playing this member. This, gets rid of Magus even when it's in play, and it also gets rid of stuff like Yawgmoth, which can be problematic as well. It also kills Kalitra for what's worth. Force of Vigor is just a good card. Endurance, just a fantastic card in the archetype. Tireless Tracker, a card that allows us to play the grindy game a little bit better. We also have one copy of Engineering Explosives, one copy of Pity Needle as a target for Ursa Saga, and then Radiant Fountain, which is a card that we couldn't find room for in the main deck, so we're playing one copy in the sideboard. Second, Cavernous Soul, third, Boseiju, and a Bojuki Bog. These are some extra tutor targets that we're actually going to see more often because we have access to Reclaimers. So not only can we find them through Primetime or Expedition Map, but we can also find them through Reclaimer, which is very, very nice. We're going to be playing this deck list through a league. If you would like to see your deck played on a video, or if you are interested in booking coaching or something like that, you can find all the information you need in the description of the video below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for round number 1. Alright, Obosh time. Yeah, I think I'm keeping this hand. Obosh decks sometimes have access to main deck Blood Moon, but I think that's fine. I guess we're not. If they have turn 3 Blood Moon, we're not going to have time to pop them off, which is a little bit problematic. But Amulet, Boseiju. Yeah, that doesn't really change anything for me. We're just going to go turn 1 Saga, and we're probably going to go turn 2 Saga as well. Like I'm probably just going to pack it up to turn 3 Blood Moon anyway. So I'm just going to try to maximize my chances of winning a game where my opponent doesn't have the Blood Moon on turn 3. I think that's my clearest avenue to victory. Dashed Monkey. Oh no, my Eladamri's Call. Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, like nothing changes here. If my opponent has the Blood Moon, I'll be happy to back it in. And I think that they're pretty likely to have the Blood Moon because they dashed Monkey. So even if basically what that does is it guarantees that they're going to have 3 mana on turn 3. So dashing Monkey there suggests that my opponent has a Blood Moon in hand. Hopefully I'm wrong. Not very likely that I'm wrong though, which is bad for us. We are going to get to play a Dryad though, which is nice. And it's unlikely that we lose. Yeah, so they don't dash the Monkey. Like, they're definitely going to have something here. Oh, Season Pyro. Okay. Huh, maybe we have a shot here. Discarding Monkey. Very interesting. Okay, so opponent's clearly fishing for a moon there. Get my Amulet. So now we can go. Just gonna play 2 Dryads, I think. Play Dryad. Play second Dryad. And I think we're just gonna play a Flagstones here. Just play Sunhome. Could pact for Gracer, but then I just lose to my pact, so that's probably not a great play. If they don't have Blood Moon, I'm gonna win regardless whether I have these Triads or not. So I'm definitely just gonna throw them in front of whatever I can. Definitely one of them is gonna go in front of the monkey. The other one's gonna jump in front of the DRC, I think. No, probably the Season Pyro. But yeah, it's basically Blood Moon or bust. Like our hand is just too good otherwise. Blast Zone. That doesn't do it. The classic 3-4-1 on my favor. The classic 3-4-1 that benefits me. Opponent says I should have waited. It just doesn't matter. It just literally does not matter. Get another amulet. Yeah. Opponent just backs it in. Okay, so I'm assuming my opponent's gonna have Magus. So I do want Fountain, I do want this, I do want these. Shave Cultivator Colossus. Endurance becomes a little bit more exciting. Let's make this a little bit smaller. There we go. I think Call is gonna be a little bit too slow and it's gonna be hard to cast under Blood Moon. I'm definitely gonna shave at least 2 sagas. Do I want Bojuku Bog? I think with triple endurance I don't want Bog. Gracer is fantastic. Could see shaving 1 amulet, but not more. A 3rd Boseiju is nice. Answers to Magus are nice. Endurance is nice. Dread is medium. I think I do want to have access to Expedition Map because I can map for Boseiju in case my opponent has actual Blood Moon as opposed to Magus. Not having to bring in Force in a matchup like this is the real strength of Boseiju. Is, you know, you get paired against Obosh and then you don't have to have, you know, use stupid forces because otherwise you just lose to their Blood Moon. Same thing against Murktide, same thing against Rhinos. Like all of those matchups, like Force is just so bad, but you're kind of priced into bringing them in because otherwise you just die to their Blood Moon. So having access to, you know, answers to Moon that you not only that you can tutor for and put in your hand with a bounce land, but also that tap for mana, it's an absolute game changer. Do I just cut all of the sagas? I'm kind of into it actually. We can do something like this. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this actually. Because I imagine my opponent's plan is gonna heavily rely on Blood Moon. So we get to minimize the effect considerably. I guess I reluctantly keep this. I would really love to see a Gracer. Yeah, I probably should mulligan to Gracer actually. Yeah, this is much better. Yeah, I love this hand. Keep it. Bottom the Growth Chamber. And the reason to bottom the Growth Chamber as opposed to the Expedition map is not only if I draw more bounce lands it's better, but also put him mold to 6. I think I'm gonna dismember this monkey actually. I get super punished if my opponent does have the turn 3 Magus, but yeah, so they definitely have a Blood Moon hand. The good thing is that Blood Moon doesn't do it. Like they need to have actual Magus. And then even if they do have Magus, we can go Expedition Map, crack it. And nice. No land is huge, obviously. That's pretty good. Play land, play Dryad. Say go. Holding up Boseiju in case my opponent moons me. There we go. That's a Magus. It's kind of okay. Go fetch my basic, play my basic, say go. Dryad blanks the Magus, which is very nice. We can pact for another Dryad, we can pact for a Reclaimer too. Pillage. Well, that I was not expecting, let me tell you. Alright, you got me. I was not expecting to get pillaged there. Pass the turn. It was really obvious my opponent had the turn 2 Magus, but the monkey just put so much pressure on me. I think we got enough value from this member. So now I have to find another basic, I guess. Another dismember, I guess. That would be the best pickup. Okay, Dryad down. Also, I shouldn't have F6'd. Should not have F6 there. That's a pretty good punt. I could have Enduranced in response to the Unholy Heat, and my Dryad would have survived. Not that the Dryad's doing anything, it's just keeping the Magus in check, and not by that much, because eventually the Obosh is going to come into play, so at that point, like, the Magus doesn't even do anything. Sure, that doesn't add anything here. So just gotta find, we just gotta find a basic forest. Whenever we do find a forest, I think I'm gonna go just back for Dryad. Dismember is potentially game winning. Bojuku Bog. There's just no reason to play this out, so we're not gonna. I mean, we're just dead to the Obosh, right? Yeah. Okay. Next game. Yeah, so our opponent has at least 5, maybe 6 moon effects, so I definitely like the strategy of cutting the sagas. The pillages really took me by surprise. I don't think that really changes anything though. And I don't think I want tracker, this just dies to a bolt or a shock, so not particularly excited about any of those prospects. It's interesting though, like tracker is interesting in this kind of matchup. Man, this hand is so close. That was such a close hand. I'm gonna keep this and send one of these prime times. I don't love this hand though. no turn 1 monkey is good for me. But Pillage is gonna own me. Pillage is gonna own me so bad. Okay. Expedition map for basic forest, play forest. Maybe I should have gotten a fetch there. Maybe I should have gotten a fetch so I can grow the reclaimer faster. Monkey. Okay. Play this out. Say go. Surprise. I think I want to shuffle my own graveyard here. As opposed to my opponent's. And the reason for that is so I have the expedition map back in the deck. No answer to endurance. You love to see that. You love to see that. So I'm not going to attack. Actually, I am going to attack because if opponent dashes monkey, that's just good for me because it means I get to resolve prime time. So we have to dodge 1 draw step here, 1 land. They found it. Okay, so we're just gonna get Blood Moon now. Getting Blood Moon is not great, but it is what it is. Pillage my bounce land. Okay. I guess that's also something that could happen. 3, yeah. Magus. Yeah. Another basic would be nice. Boseiju is interesting. Because what Boseiju does is allows me to pact for a Dryad. And then I only lose to exactly second Magus, but we actually get to beat a Blood Moon. So I think because of that, I'm gonna pact for a Dryad here. Because I think it's not getting better for me. And this makes it so if my opponent has a Blood Moon, we do get to answer it, which is nice. And then because of how layers work, our Dryad is still active. If they have second Magus, we lose. Fury. I was not playing around Fury. Yep. That'll do it. That will do it. Okay, we played 2 our outs and we got by a card that I was not expecting. It happens. Alright, see you next round. Welcome to our number 2. I think I keep this hand. So we're on the play and this is a turn 3 Dryad into turn 4 Titan, or at least a very likely turn 4 Titan. So I think I like keeping this. We have nothing that we would like to cast on turn 2 if that we could top deck. The only thing would be a Grazer. So because of that, I think we want to lead on basic forest as opposed to leading on Valakut. Like you would think that you would want to get the bounce land out of the way as soon as possible, but we can draw red cards, green cards, sorry. Steam Vents. Yeah, we have Vesuva in hand, so we're just gonna go this route. Now we do have Titan mana. Baral. Okay. guess that this Reclaimer could matter. Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter because we don't have. Yeah, this was bad. I should have played the bounce land. We're probably just dead here. Like, I don't think that we can. They kept 7, and I don't think they can really whiff from here. I think this is, if not actually deterministic, this is very close to. I think this is actually just deterministic. So discard that, try to choke them on mana. Seems unlikely that's gonna work, but Serum Visions. Yeah, now that is actually deterministic. Yeah, Past in Flames, get back to rituals. Yeah, it's been a minute since I played against Storm. Got that. Definitely want the Reclaimers. I don't think we care about Boseiju. Saga seems okay. Maybe we can cut a Balakut. Let's cut a Boseiju. Amulet's important. Call can go. Cut a couple of Gracers and maybe the Expedition map. I don't want to cut the map, no. Let's cut. Man, the last cut is very interesting. I could see it going many different ways. I think I'm gonna cut the castle, but I could see cutting a plethora of different things there. Well, this hand has no green mana, but we have an early Saga and we have interaction in Endurance, so I think I'm gonna keep it. And I'm gonna go turn 1 Saga, go. Turn 2. I think we just play a second Saga on turn 2. But what this hand has is very high upside. It's not good enough by itself, but it has a very, very high upside. So what I want to find here is a bounce land. If I find a bounce land, I think I'm going to be in really good shape. Hey, hello. There's no way my opponent has Alpine Moon, right? They could have Blood Moon, maybe. Don't do it. Don't do it? Okay, that's fine. That is actually just fine. Here's my Amulet. Here's my Dryad. And we're just gonna go double Reclaimer here. Actually, only one Reclaimer. I do need to have access to Endurance so I don't lose to Past in Flames. Can't play both Reclaimers, which is very sad. So if they do go for a Past in Flames kill, we should be in fine shape here. And I think I did bring in Engineered Explosives. Yeah, no, I didn't. All right. We can probably go over the top of a bunch of goblins though. Gifts. Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's pretty good for me. All right, so we're gonna have to do some math here. So we can go trigger on the stack, sack Saga, go get Growth Chamber. That will be 4 mana. Then we're gonna have, yeah, we can just tighten them. So them tapping out here means that we just win. Just Reclaimer doing Reclaimer things. You love to see it. You love to see it. So we have to just not draw one of our combo lands. Man, Reclaimer's so sweet. Opponent really in the attack about these gifts. I wonder if they have like something like subtlety in their deck. But that doesn't do anything though. So let's ban that and that. Ban the rituals. I guess opponent could technically grape shot here. If they grape shot, kill the Reclaimer. No, we still get to tighten them. Because we naturally do the T-West. But if they grape shot... They don't have enough to grape shot the Dryad. Okay, now they do have enough to grape shot the Dryad. There are a couple of things that beat us here. Wish, okay. Probably gonna wish for grape shot. And then just clear my board. Seems like a pretty good play. Yep. I imagine they're just gonna clear the board. Yeah. So float mana, 6 mana. So we have to find second amulet here. This is really awkward. So I can go growth chamber into Pact for Asusa. I guess I can just transmute. And I can play endurance and force my opponent to basically have it again. That's probably my best route to victory here. Transmute for Pact and just cast endurance. And now I force my opponent to have it again. Like if they had ritual, they would have gone for it last turn. So I don't think it's super likely for them to have it here. Remand is very scary, however. Remand is super scary. So this is 5 mana. I think I go for Reclaimer because next turn I can Reclaimer means that next turn I just get to do the thing. I'm gonna swing for 3 here. Next turn I get to Reclaimer for Cavern, then Cavern into Titan. Them having another gift sucks. That really sucks. And again, I played around Remand there, and I think my opponent has Remand. because otherwise they could have probably gone for it there. Yeah, I'm just gonna be in the rituals again, just trying to make sure that they have the least possible amount of guaranteed mana. Sure, like they could morphose into rituals and stuff like that, but also they didn't bin off the consider, so we're probably pretty dead here. I would assume that we're dead. Maybe I should have just gone for it last turn. The thing is, Reclaimer means that if I survive one more turn, I have a guaranteed win. So I thought it was worth it to take a turn off, but maybe I just couldn't afford to. Maybe I just couldn't afford to, and I should have. Yeah, my opponent had like a gazillion cards in hand. I should have probably just gone for it. I'm regretting my choice now. Yeah, definitely regretting my choice. It's kind of cool how we, thanks to Reclaimer, like if we had access to a green card, we actually could have packed it for another endurance there in response to the Past in Flames. So that's very cute. You know, on upkeep we could have packed for, we could have sucked our Valakut and then get a bounce land, and then that would have actually made it so we could pay for pact, which is pretty cute. So it doesn't matter how I slice this, I'm dead, because they already have the Piff in the graveyard. Yeah. Alright. Feels bad, man. So this feels like about the time where we rally back to a positive record, right? Rally our way back to a 3-2. Like champions. Let's keep this hand. We're playing against, I assume, elementals, because like Wafo has been playing Snapcasters lately. Turn 1 Reclaimer, go. So I can't play the second Reclaimer because of Fury. Again, I'm assuming this is elementals. Huh, maybe it isn't. Okay, maybe it isn't. Is this blue-white without Snapcasters? Kind of looks like blue-white without Snapcasters, if you asked me. It's the Time Raveler. Just how they ravel in some time. Probably have to sack this. Yeah, I think so. Kind of awkward, but I'm gonna double Reclaimer here. One Reclaimer. Two Reclaimers. Your turn. We could have packed it for a Dryad there. Opponent could Wrath here, but you know, if they don't Wrath, then we just get got by Prismatic Ending, so we are between a rock and a hard place. That looks like a Wrath, if you asked me. Now we packed for Dryad. One, two, three. Pass the turn. Maybe I shouldn't have exposed the Valakut. Yeah, maybe I should have saved the Valakut. Because of Spreading Seas. Yep. Yeah, that was bad. That was not a good play. I mean, I'm probably gonna... This is not the worst anyway. Bounce land? Fetch land. Okay. Tuck Taff. Play some lands, say go. Super punished for playing out the Valakut. Super punished. If I had played the fetch land instead, we would be in much better shape right now. Also, yeah, my opponent having the Wrath there, kind of a really big deal. Kind of a really big deal. Interesting. Cavernous Souls. Ursa Saga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably gonna jam here. Like, we only have one saga that we're drawing towards. We force my opponent to have exactly counterspell. They do. We still have another Titan. Okay. So now we're gonna get some tokens. Next, we're not gonna get to pop this saga because my opponent can minus on Spreading Seas. Minus and Spreading Seas, and then get back. Just play it again, targeting the saga. We're gonna see if this resolves. It probably doesn't. Force of Negation. Main deck Force of Negation. Okay. It's not something that you see on every blue-white list. Created 2/2 Samurai. Plus. Okay. It's kind of greedy. I would have definitely minused on Spreading Seas. Right there. Unless they have Dress Down. Maybe that's why they did that. I'm gonna chill on that card. Definitely taking Teferi instead of Wandering Emperor because of the Spreading Seas. Like, minusing on Seas is kind of a problem for us. They have 3 cards in hand. Okay, pass the turn. Okay. So they could have Dress Down, so I'm gonna set up for that. But I think this, if I can bait them into using the Dress Down to get rid of constructs, then we should be good with Colossus. Unraveler minuses. We know one of their cards is Kaheera. You're gonna get to put a token on Kaheera? That's kind of cool. This card is... like, it does some stuff. Like, it's no joke. It does do some stuff. So now we can't really pressure planeswalkers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not a good draw. Not a good draw at all. Not a good draw at all. Ooh, that's very good for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This draws me a single card. Is it getting better though? I don't think it is, so I'm just gonna jam. It's not really getting better for us. So we're just gonna have to luck suck a little bit here. And like Dress Down obviously destroys us, right? That's very sad. That's very, very sad. A little bit unfortunate. Yeah, that wasn't great. That wasn't great. The Mind Sculptor. We're really gonna dodge Solitude here. Unless they're hard casting Solitude. Yeah, maybe we're just kind of fine here. Huh. Let's see. Reclaimer. So let's start things off by attacking the Mind Sculptor. Which is far and away the most threatening one. Okay, so we're gonna get to resolve the prime time here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. And I think we're just gonna go double Saga here. Do I want to Reclaimer is the question. We're overstanding into a Verdict. Yeah, we'll probably just have to. It's not great. It's not great, but I think that it's just, yeah, it's just, ugh, that's very problematic. So if they do find the Verdict, which they're going to be looking at 7 cards this turn, it's basically dig through time. It's not gonna be good for us. They probably have one more Verdict, and we know that they don't have Snapcasters because they have Kaheera, right? So at least we know that. What is this? Prismatic Ending or March on his Saga? That's kind of fine. Don't mind that too much. +1 on Kaheera. No blocks. No blocks on Kaheera. Plus on Tef. What is this? Just Verdict. Yep. 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 It was understandable. All right, so opponent plus Jace, which is very bad news for us. That's a Dryad that doesn't really do anything. It all came down to that turn where I exposed the Valagon, and then I just literally have not seen a bounce land. I've not seen a bounce land all game. Have not seen a single bounce land in 12 turns. I even resolved the Colossus. Like, I feel like we got pretty unlucky this game. Sure. Okay. Get a 1/1 out of the deal. Not a single bounce land. How crazy is that? How crazy is that we have not seen a single bounce land in half our deck? Literally half our deck. 28 cards deep. Not a single bounce land. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Well, we can't really attack. And opponent is down 2 verdicts, so I'm just gonna assume that they don't have another verdict. We can't attack because of the hull, which means that they're gonna get to scry here, which is not great for me. Oh, flashback, deluge. That's much better. That's actually much better. We're still not out of this though. We're still not out of this. Like, it only takes a single whiff. And like, we're just looking great. We have 3 verdicts, 3 main deck verdicts. Jeez. Okay, so that's probably too much. That's probably too much. Somehow I had to pause the recording to go put my baby back to sleep because she was crying, but we are still ahead on clock. I have no idea how this is happening right now. Literally had to pause the recording for 5 minutes to go take care of the baby, and we're still ahead on clock. So we're playing against 3 main deck Supreme Verdicts, and apparently we forgot to put bounce lands in our deck. That's punishing. That's punishing. But like, it's more likely that we find a bounce land than that we find a blue source, or that we find a Dryad that resolves. So it's, in my opinion, it's better to play out this. Not that this is going to matter though. Not that it's going to matter, because my opponent has 5 cards, and I'm going to find Summoner's Pact. I'm going to pact for a Primeval Titan. Sadness. Seen enough. Let's move to the next game. I could farm like a minute or 2, but it's not really worth my nor your time. So those are the cards that I care about. Don't care about Gracer. I think we can cut like 1, maybe 2 sagas. 2 sagas. Reclaimer's great. Amulet is medium. Bog doesn't really do anything, it only stops deluge. That doesn't seem worth it to me. And can cut castle and one more cut. Just another gracer. Interesting match. There are things to like about this hand. There are definitely things to like about this hand. We're gonna have to dodge turn 2 spreading seas, but oof. Yeah. Look at that, it bounce land. This is actually quite nice. Play with Seiju, say go. So now we're gonna get a token. No land. Oof. I got a little bit lucky here, actually. This is actually not a bad concession for my opponent, if I'm being honest. Like they kept a skeptical hand, and they used they used like 12 minutes to win game 1, so they know that they're just falling way too far behind here, and it's better for them to just pack it in and just make sure that they have enough time to finish game 3. This is fine though, I'll keep this. I think endurance is not fantastic, but definitely okay. Like I'm just fine having it in my deck. This hand is very good though. This hand is very, very good. I love it. Oof, that's a top deck. That is a top deck. Okay. We do get to untap with the one and only. I think I'm going for Flagstones here. Forces my opponent to use their mana now to answer the Reclaimer. And then we get to resolve this Dryad. But they have to kill this right now. They just have to. They can't let me untap with Reclaimer. Otherwise, I just do nothing and I just pass the turn. And they keep falling further and further behind. This is Archmage's Charm. Wow. Solitude Pitch Verdict. That's a win in my book. That's a win in my book. That's not a win though. That's most definitely not a win. Could have gotten Valakut there. That would have been another option. One is going to draw 2. There's an argument for pacting there, but then we lose to Spreading Seas. So, not super into it. Fairy Time Raveler. Here's a Dryad. Play that. And I think we just chill. opponent showed us multiple verdicts. It's quite possible that they cited a couple of them out. Wonder if my opponent has... I'm saving this in case of Colossus. 4 mana. Attack Tef. Ferry down. Pact. I have to counter this. They can still Wrath on end step. But I still have a Dryad in the wings. Prime time. Carbon on Giant. Yeah, even if I think I'm gonna not play this out, because even if my opponent has the Wrath, I'm not gonna cash this in for 3 points. I'm not gonna cash in the fetch for 3 points of damage. Seems like we can do better than that. So let's do Valakut for sure, because we already have another Dryad, but Valakut Saga? Oh, yes. Oh, yield. Here's the verdict. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if they tap out for, let's say, Jace, Hero, it's a little bit more concerning. It's a little bit more concerning. Shock. So they probably have Archmage's Charm. One, 2, 3, 4. Yes. I guess we can just make a token. I think I'm gonna go play this out. If I play Dryad and they counter it, I don't get to make a token, so I think I'm just gonna chill. Looks like they did have Charm. Kaheera to hand. Okay. I think I'm getting Needle here, named the Fairy Hero. I'm still gonna attack the Teferi though. We know one of their cards is, what's his name? The Kaheera. There's the Charm. sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if we packed now, we can have an Encounterable Titan next turn. It's worse if we draw Colossus, but that's fine. This puts some pretty solid pressure on the Teferi. Kaheera. I still think it's relevant to kill the Teferi. My opponent has multiple ways of answering this, so that's a heinous draw, by the way. Giant. They probably have Solitude. Not too much we can do about it. I'm just gonna find T-West and make sure that we have better top decks. So now Bounce Land is a very good top deck for us. Interesting that they traded it for a construct when they knew that they had Solitude in hand. I don't think I agree with that play. Is the hole gonna get in there? Okay. Take 10. I mean, I'm at 26. Not like super scared of that, but it's not nothing. Oh, hey. What's up? You have the counterspell? You do not. So 1, 2. I'm just not gonna haste, right? No, I actually am gonna haste, because the only way my opponent can get around the haste is if, yeah, definitely gonna haste. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we'll find Boros in Slayer's Stronghold. Bounce that, play that, haste this bad boy, swing, swing. We're gonna get these and I guess Vesuva. Here we go. Shout out to Piety Needle. Shout out to Piety Needle for being awesome. One, 2, 3, 4. Sweet. So now we get to find an amulet, which is kind of cute. Do I want to play a tracker? My opponent doesn't even want to know what I'm about to do. All right, sweet. See you next round. All right, round number 4. Not a good hand. 1 lander. A little bit sketch. Another terrible hand. Down to 5 we go. We're gonna keep this one. Keep bottom. And I think we're gonna bottom the vestige. We're on the play. Now the question is, do I want a saga on one or do I want to flagstones on one? I think I want to... Okay, so if I go turn 1 saga, Amulet, turn 2 Amulet, play flagstones. Following turn I have Titan mana, but what I'm trying to figure out here is whether I do care about getting construct value or not. I think it's going to be really hard for me to get construct value anyway, so I'd rather get explosiveness value. Wooded Foothills into basic mountain Swift Spear. That's a heinous draw. That's a really, really bad draw. Big yikes for that draw. Well, super punished for taking it slow now. We don't have Radiant Fountain in this deck list, so that's something to keep in mind. If we find a prime time, we're gonna win, but if we don't, I think we're gonna lose. That's Boseiju, and that doesn't do anything. So crack that for T-West, I guess. So now I can spend this turn to transmute for a Titan, and I think I'm gonna do that. But the problem now, I guess that the good thing is that if I do top deck a Titan, even though I'm doing this, I still get to cast it because I can just pact for Azusa or Dryad. So I think that this is the better play, even though it's a little bit counterintuitive to play the bounce land, and I don't have Titan mana next turn, right? So first order of business is to survive, which doesn't seem particularly likely. Ooh, so Spellbrief Bolt is good for us. That means we probably are going to get another turn. But we're not going to get a following one. Like, we're going to lose on turn 4. So it's just a matter of, can we draw the Titan or the Azusa? We cannot. That's very sad. That's very, very sad. Okay. So we're going to die here. Oh, what? What's in their hand? So we die to any burn spell here, but we survive Goblin Guide. We survive Eidolon. We technically survive this Swift Spear too. Eidolon also doesn't do it here. Helix does kill us though. All right, pretty unlucky here. We end up getting punished by the mulligan. Yeah, like that would have won the game, obviously. Okay, so burn. We don't really have too much Cyberlink to do against burn. Probably got Flagstones. Don't particularly love the Damage Skull. Let's do that. I don't love Engineered Explosives either, to be honest. This hand is fantastic, however. This is the mother of all nut draws. Just Gracer. Gracer just completely makes any hand incredible. Just blanked every single one of my opponent's 1-drops, which is very nice. Or this is just game 3. I'll block you. I think I want to play second Saga here. Alternatively, I could have played Valakut, but I think that the sooner that we get the second amulet in play, it's the better that it's gonna be. You got a Chief. You got a Chief. Another prime time. I mean, we're winning the race. We're winning the race pretty handily. So that's nice. Opponent is just losing to our constructs. We don't even have to do anything. Rolling Vortex is such a weird card against Amulet. Like, I think it's good. Like, I think it's a fine card to bring, but at the same time, look at what's going on here. My opponent is literally chump blocking. They're getting clocked by their own Vortex. Yeah, that's not the that's not the way to do it. That is certainly not the way to do it. Play this out, say go. There's even an argument for just like playing a bounce land there and just playing a random 3/4. Even something like Deflecting Palm just doesn't do anything. To be honest, Deflecting Palm is not particularly great against Amulet anyways, but even if that is their game plan, it's just not going to go anywhere. So we're in a decent spot here, I'd say. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I feel like Gracer's getting frisky. Oof. Gracer's getting in there. Ooh. Gracer was feeling it right there. Okay, game number 3. This is probably fine. Like, I'm not in love with the Endurance, but I'm also not in love with any of the other cards. Interesting. So this requires me to shock on 1, but I have 2 Reclaimers. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move for Gracer. Or this. This is also good. Spot on the Garrison. Yeah, this hand's pretty... It's pretty gassy, not gonna lie. Oh man. I think I don't play around Molten Rain or anything like that. Because this basically means that my opponent can't really tap out here. Because I have this Radiant Fountain that's looming. So I'm putting my opponent in under like a little bit of a choke, which is nice. Oof, no Molten Rain is good. We'd like to see no Molten Rain. Play my Dryad. And now I can choose, do I want to play into Skullcrack or do I not care about Skullcrack? I think that forcing my opponent to have awkward mana situation is better. Path my Dryad. Yeah. This is just poor cyberling in my opponent's part. They should not have a Path to Exile in their deck. Card's just terrible. Maybe the argument for playing Radiant Fountain there is the fact that if they Skullcrack me there, then they can Skullcrack me on the following turn. Is your last card Skullcrack opponent? It's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pact for prime time. Just gonna go Vesuva. Vesuva into Bounce Land here. Another Growth Chamber. And I guess I'm not going to attack with Reclaimer. The 1 point doesn't really change anything, and opponent could have a haste threat and a path. One, 2, 3, 4. So if opponent has Deflecting Palm, what happens if they have Deflecting Palm? Probably still okay. Yeah, looks like they do have Deflecting Palm. No. Which doesn't really do anything, right? Because they have 0 cards in hand now. Gobo. Take a free block on the Swift Spear. Block. We're gonna get Valakut here. And now this is lethal. Yeah, I think my opponent just... My experience is that I lose I lose much more often against Burn when they have a good draw. You know, like turn 1 something, turn 2 Eidolon, and they just start piling up damage and they just race me, as opposed to when they try to, like, this is just aiming to play a longer game because I can just simply not attack. Like, I only attack there because I said, okay, what if my opponent has Deflecting Palm, which is the best card they can have? I still don't care. So, you know, like you're a competent Titan player doesn't get got by Deflecting Palm. You know, like it's just never going to attack into Deflecting Palm. It's just never going to attack into 2 mana until they can, you know, boss sage you your lands, I guess, or more likely just be able to kill you through the palm thanks to Dryad, or gain enough life to just not care like we did here. So, and path is just bad. Like if my opponent had you know Eidolons and stuff, I think they were much more likely to win this game. But they were stuck with a bunch of cards that didn't threaten my life total. You know. So anyway, see you next round. Last match of the day, and yeah, we're definitely keeping this hand. Turn 1 Reclaimer into turn 2 Activation into turn 3 Dryad. Don't mind if I do. But Sage even means that I don't even have to shock to play Reclaimer on turn 1. Busted. The only thing we would love to not draw is another Temple Garden. I would love to not draw another Temple Garden. Steamman Stabbed. Okay. UR Murktide. I'd assume this is murky. Opponent revealed no companion too, so no bolt though. Okay. I mean, this is nice. I can work with this. I think I'm just gonna iteration. Okay, I was going to go for Cavern of Souls, but now we just don't have to. So I don't think I care about Flagstones because we have a bunch of lands. So I don't think we really care about Flagstones here. Monkey. Okay. So it's a matter of, do I care about getting Cavern right now, or do I care about getting Saga right now? I think I care about getting Cavernous. Yeah, let's get a Saga actually. Man, these draws are just... These draws are so bad. Really, really bad. So now my opponent's a little bit is in a little bit of a pickle. Like, do they answer the Dryad or do they answer the Reclaimer? And whatever they answer, the other thing is gonna take over. So they just need to have found 2 answers. One answer doesn't even do it. And that's obviously the best of both worlds for me. So 2 mana, trigger on the stack. Find Cavern of Souls, name Giant. Get Amulet. Play that. Play this land. Just see my land drops here. Wonder if they're gonna like steal my Reclaimer or something. I mean, they have to do something. Draw 2. Okay, so now they have Delirium. Now they have Delirium. Funny enough is if my opponent bolts the Reclaimer, I can just Boseiju. Just Boseiju one of their lands and and save it. That's super cute. Mishra's Bubble. Super weird hand from our opponent. How do they not have an answer to the Reclaimer? Like, it's turn 5. And this Reclaimer that we played on turn 1 has been doing so much stuff. So I think we're just gonna continue doing nothing here. Drawn nothing but blanks, and it kind of doesn't matter. Say go. We just don't really need to do anything. If our opponent refuses to kill our Reclaimer and they refuse to kill our Dryad, we can just continue playing this game. I'm okay with that. Just being extra patient. We don't even have to trade our token for the monkey if my opponent finds an answer to Dryad, because we can just randomly activate Sunhome. It's pretty cute. What's the play, opponent? If opponent steals the Reclaimer, it's going to be a 3/4 for them too. How cute is that? It's a Murktide. Doesn't do too much. And now they don't have Delirium, so they can't even kill this Dryad. Here's a Valakut. Expedition map. And we're just going to crack this for another Valakut here. Always yes, always yes, always yield. Super weird matchup. I'm still kind of blown away by the fact that our opponent just had literal nothing. How do they still not have anything? I wonder what their hand actually looked like. Very weird. Okay, so we love Endurance. All of the lands. Castle can go. At least 2 sagas, maybe 3 can go. Gracer is great, Reclaimer's fine, cut one Amulet, cut Cultivator. There's an argument for Tracker, Tracker's fine against Blood Moon. And in the blind, I think I'd rather play around Blood Moon than play around Magus, so I'm not going to be bringing in these members. Maybe cut Flagstones. It's got a second Amulet. Yeah, this seems like a fine configuration. Like Endurance is just such a house here. Endurance is such a banger against Murktide. Alright. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit slow, but we have a Gracer. If we find untap green, I think we probably can't ever lose. Untap green source? Easy. So I think it's gonna be Saga here. This means I can't Dryad on 2, but this means that it's the most likely that we're gonna get value from this Saga. It's a Dryad. Pass the turn. Blood Moon would be an annoyance. Blood Moon would be an annoyance here, but like they need to have it right now. They do have it. They don't have it. Huh. Okay. We're missing land drops here, so I'm just gonna go for Expedition Map. Map also finds me Cavern. Hit the token, resolves. That's a hit that does not kill a Titan or a Dryad, right? Iteration. I wonder if they have any answers to Expedition Map here. Fiery Islet. Engineered explosives. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. My opponent's very clearly representing counter spell. And we don't know yet whether we want to map for Boseiju or whether we want to map for a Cavern. So we can just chill here. Play this out in case my opponent finds an answer to the Gracer. She's going to eat a counterspell? That would be awesome. I'll definitely take a counterspell. Yeah, sounds good. Gracer working overtime right now. Gracer working overtime right now. So we do have Dryad in hand. So depends on what my opponent does here, but I'm kind of interested in. We really have to dodge Dress Down. So my opponent can dress down right now. They don't. Okay. They draw 2. That makes no sense whatsoever, but it's okay. Oh, they're looking for heat. Okay, sure. Mayday, mayday, tighten down. So we're gonna do Bojuka Bog and Bounce Land here. Pass the turn. We have another Titan coming down next turn. Maybe they have Blood Moon too? Fury. That's the hard way to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're gonna be able to haste the Primeval Titan. Mayasusa. Alpine Moon. Oh no. Probably gonna name Valakut. But we can answer this with Boseiju anyway. So we're gonna play Titan and we're gonna attack with the Titan. Titan is gonna trade with Fury. That's fine. Is that true though? 1, 2, 3. Let's actually go dry it into Titan here. Just gonna get Boseiju. Seems pretty challenging for my opponent to get out of this. Not gonna lie, I would be impressed if they do though. Would be quite impressed if they happen to get out of this. No attacks is great for me. Whew. Start here, so if my opponent wants to counterspell this, then we get to resolve the second Dryad. I mean, this is garbage time, like it just doesn't matter what they do. Play Dryad. Sage that. And this is just gonna be game. Alright, so opponent does indeed find the land, and now we just kill them. Nice. It always feels good, you know, the classic 0-2 into 3-2 somehow feels good, you know? Somehow it feels good. Even though it's actually not great. Alright, so this list was kind of fun. We did get to see Reclaimer do some interesting stuff. We got a little bit unlucky that we got paired against Blue Red Storm, which is historically a heinous matchup, and we also got paired against 8 Moons dot deck, so obviously not a great matchup either. But we did manage to, you know, we did play against Blue Red Murktide, which is, you know, one of the top decks in the format. We did get paired against some reasonable decks, so it's not that we got, you know, we got lucky against the bad match, the good matchups or something like that. We did actually play against some real decks, but it was still pretty solid. Like The issue with Amulet right now is that there are a lot of moon effects, and this is something that I always say about Amulet, is just Amulet can never be tier 1, because if it is ever tier 1, then it's really really easy to make it so it's not tier 1 again. So there's just so many blood moon effects right now in the format, and rightfully so. Like, the deck is pretty good. Like, I'm not saying that it's wrong that that's the case. What I'm saying is that it's just not probably not a great time to be playing Amulet, because you're going to be running into those blood moon effects, and it's not particularly easy to beat them, right? Particularly Magus. Magus is such a beating. Boseiju really really helps against blood moon specifically, but even still, like, it's not a given that you're gonna beat it, right? Like, you still need to find your basic, you still need to figure out a way to work around it, right? Like, you still have a way to figure out a way to line your cards up properly. While Magus is just, do you have the dismember, or like, can you put enough pressure to force the Magus to jump? And usually, if the answer is no to either one of those, you're just gonna lose eventually. So it's kind of problematic, and people play Magus instead of Blood Moon. I think it's smart, and it's, if I were trying to hate on Amulet, I would be doing that myself as well. But yeah, this deck is pretty solid. I think that a Reclaimer adds a bunch of very very cool avenues to the deck, and we did see a Reclaimer just turn one Reclaimer into just do nothing else. Like, we just saw it against the Murktide matchup, but it's just like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna kill this guy? Because if you're not killing it, like, I don't need to play any more spells. Like, I just start fetching Ursa sagas, and like the sagas start accruing incremental value over and over again, and I don't even go down in lands, because I just sack the saga with the third chapter 3 trigger on the stack. So it's not like I'm even falling behind or anything like that. I'm just staying at the same place, at the same parity, or even I'm hitting my land drops at the same time. So Reclaimer really adds a ton of value to the deck, and it adds an angle of attack that it's not necessarily, like, usually you want to cut your bolts and stuff like that against Amulet, because it just doesn't line up well against your Dryad, or even Asusa, right? Like, it just doesn't line up well against Asusa, because it just got its value before dying. So like, it kind of forces you to keep your bolts and answer this Reclaimer, and even like in the late game, like, Reclaimer just turns into a 3/4, and your bolts are deader than ever. So I think it's really really cool. I personally have a lot of fun playing this specific version of the deck. I think it's very interesting, and it's actually more challenging to play, as opposed to the stock version, which is a lot more streamlined. So I have a lot more fun trying to figure out which lines I can come up with to maximize Reclaimer, and like what angles of attack that gives me. But yeah, I think it's a very very defensible way to play Amulet, and I definitely encourage it, particularly for seasoned players, like for veteran players that want that extra little bit of spice and that extra little bit of a challenge. I think it's a fantastic puzzle to try to solve. Like, Reclaimer is just so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. You can also leave me a comment down below. And if you're interested in some other services, like coaching, or even making sure that you can support the stream through Patreon or through donations, I can play any list of your choosing if you if you make a donation of $20 or more. So those are different ways that you can support my content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.